Wow, my video was really chugging, so I hope it went well
Oh,
for everybody else.
yeah, it went fine on this end.
Yeah. It's just out here. This is the internet here is like relayed 2 or 3 times, so I think
Mm.
it chugs a little bit by the time it gets here. Well, good morning. It's Monday. It was good to see you guys in church yesterday.
Hmm.
Little Obadiah's first day in church.
Yep,
Slept right through the message.
I know. And all
Yeah.
the songs.
Yeah. He just conked out, huh? Oh,
Yep.
I forgot to switch over to chat. Let's see who we have on. Good morning, Jenny and Vicky. Wow. So, um, tomorrow's tax day, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I think so.
So, so I guess is that the official start of spring in Cloudcroft? I forgot to get my coffee um, during the countdown because I was trying to figure out if it was really streaming or not. So I'm gonna get some coffee here. It's pretty cool. I have my coffee pot just right behind me here.
Yep.
If I run out, I can just grab some more. Gosh. So, boy, we're trucking along. I cannot believe it is the middle of April.
I know. It's
Crazy.
a couple more weeks and April's over.
Yeah. And then May starts, and pretty much that's the beginning of our summer. The way that we kind of think about it, because uh, when May hits, it's a mad dash to Vacation Bible School. So
Hmm.
what I want to talk about this morning is our summer schedule, because we do things a little bit differently in the summer. Obviously, we some of it we have to, because a lot of what we do ministry wise is kind of tied to the school schedule. So let's talk about some of those things. Um, April, golly. So Palm Sunday yesterday.
Hmm.
Easter Sunday is this week. Golly. Um, so it's really cool. We'll have our Good Friday service Friday night, our Easter egg hunt on Saturday, and then celebrate Easter on Sunday. And then let me see if I can get this right. I think it's only after Easter, we only have 2 more weeks of kids club. Is that right?
I think so.
Easter's the 20th, so it'll be like the 23rd and the 30th. Um,
Yeah,
uh,
2 more weeks.
yeah, and so we end kids club at the end of April. So on the 30th, we'll have a closing program for kids club. The following Wednesday will be our end of the year bash for youth for our student ministry. And then I know we've run into this before. People are like, "Why do you take a break?" Well, it looks like a break. It's not really. We need to get on this and get it sorted. But the so the 7th, I believe that is in May is. Oh, good morning, Jim. The 7th in May is our end of year bash for students.
Hmm.
The following Wednesday is going to be our fundraiser for camp, and our students are going on just a close mission trip.
Hmm.
All right.
Right.
Then we've got the 21st. Is that next Wednesday?
Yep. 21st.
The 21st, to kind of catch our breath. And then the week after that is VBS. Is that correct?
Yes, VBS.
The week of the 28th, that Wednesday.
Yep. The 27th through the 30th is VBS.
Yeah. So it looks like we're taking this really big break, but we're not. So even though uh, um, Kids Club, we don't have any more Kids Clubs after April, which there's 5 Wednesdays in April this year. We're still doing stuff and getting ready, and we have to get ready for Vacation Bible School. Vacation Bible
Hmm.
School is the last week of May.
Hmm.
And then that first week of June, we're getting ready for kids camp, right?
Right.
Oh, this is making me tired. Think about it. And then we have kids camp the
Mm-hmm.
second week in June. The third week in June is our student mission trip.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth week in June, I think, is a little break. No, wait. The fourth week in June is first and second grade camp.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I'll look real quick. First and second
They're
grade.
all like back to back.
um, so let me get there. Um, yes. So the fourth week in June is first and second grade camp. And then that next week actually kind of begins July.
Mm-hmm.
So so really the only kind of break that we get to take, it looks like a break for a lot of people because like usually the ladies Bible study takes a break in the summer,
Mm-hmm.
and that's mainly because everybody's doing the other things, right?
Right.
Um, so the men's kind of goes on. We'll take a break every now and then, but we kind of keep going. Um, so really, the only break, if we want to call it that, is in July. And so July, ladies Bible study won't meet. Actually, probably ladies Bible study won't meet in June or July, right?
Right. We're planning like a fellowship
Right.
thing
Do,
in the
do some
summer, but
fellowship.
yeah, normally we won't meet do the Bible study
Yeah,
till
and
August.
that's, yeah, a lot of that's because we're gone, and that even happens for me with the men's Bible studies. I'll be gone for at least 2 weeks of those, 3 weeks probably,
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks of those, and then so July we kind of catch our breath. That's about the only time your mom and I can take a vacation, is going to be sometime in July. So we'll take a little break in vacation. Um, so no kids club or youth basically um, uh, in May. Well, we have an end of year bash in May, but May, June, and July, and then we'll pick all that back up in the fall. So we've been asked this before, and again, it looks like a break from the outside. Why do we take a break from stuff in the summertime? So I'm going to get my drink of coffee, and you guys chime in. Why do you think we might take a break from stuff in the summertime, or at least change our schedule? I guess that's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Why do you think we might change our schedule a bit in the summertime? Crickets, right? You can hear them. um, I, I kind of alluded to part of it, um, particularly where our student ministry and our kids ministry is concerned. Um, it it's pretty much necessary to. Oh, good morning,
Mhm.
Lori. It's pretty much necessary to change. So
Right.
you guys may not know. I talked about this with Cynthia before. Our kids ministry, well, actually, right now, our kids ministry and student ministry happen on Wednesdays. So it's kind of integrated into the school schedule. For our kids ministry, we pick a good bit of them up from school
Mm-hmm.
and bring them over, and so they're over like from about 3:45 until 5:30, and then the parents come and pick them up after that. So it's pretty well tied to our school schedule. So whenever there's no school, like for spring break, for Christmas break, for Thanksgiving break, we don't have it. We could, but we're probably not going to have very many kids at all, because that would mean because Jesus gets tired. um, Jesus doesn't. He tells us to come to Him, all who are what, weary and heavy laden. But it's tied to the school schedule, and we've done that purposefully. If we did tried to do our regular school our regular schedule, particularly for kids and for students during the year. If we didn't change anything, if we tried to do that during the summer, we have in the past for students at least, and nobody's there. People are taking vacations. Of course, I just mentioned
Mhm.
the camps that were going on, and it's not that they don't have school, so they're doing other stuff during the day. They're doing summer stuff, and so for our kids program, we wouldn't get anybody probably. I don't know what parents are going to come, to kind of take a chunk out of the middle of their day, at 3:30 and bring the kids up, and then come back at 5:30 and pick them up. So it's tied tied to the school schedule, and has been that way for a long time.
Mhm.
That's what seems to be working for us, particularly with the kids, is that we pick them up from school, so they come right over from school, and then parents, after they get off work, can come by and pick them up. And that's one of the things that we always have to think about um, with kids ministry particular, but with all of our ministries, is what works, in the rhythm of things. What works. One of the things, I forgot what workshop it was I went to, or conference. They were talking about ministry rhythm. That sounds weird, doesn't it? Because we're Baptists, we don't have any rhythm, right? But they're talking about ministry rhythm, and a lot of people don't think about this, I guess, unless you're involved in church work a whole lot. But there is a rhythm to ministry throughout the year.
Mhm.
Even the church that we came from in Fort Worth, you were just a youngin back then. You were in fourth grade when we came, but even in Fort Worth, um, there was a ministry rhythm. We called it our ministry season. I know I'm getting notifications too. Somebody must a package at the door. The package has arrived. um, so there's a rhythm, and it's wise of us to figure out what that rhythm is, and
Mhm.
to be able to work with the rhythm. It's easier to do that than it is. The days are long gone when the community revolved around the church. I mean, that was gone a long, long time ago. And so it's best for us to do that, to find a rhythm that works. One of the things that you're probably going to hear me say a whole lot more in this next year, one of these days I'll preach a message on it, but we need to learn how to think like a missionary and act like a church planter.
Mhm.
So here's what a missionary does. A missionary goes into the area, learns who the people are, what they're like, and what it's going to take to reach them. And so that's something I want us to continually be in the mode of, and we've actually done pretty good about that. Let me turn that light off, see if that helps anything. I don't know with my back out. Should have had more coffee. I've only had one pot. Nah. So so that's what missionaries do, and that's what we train them to do when we send them off. And we've been pretty good about that. I want to make sure that we stay in that kind of mindset, that we have a missionary mindset where we are, that we're always we keep in touch with our community. We know who's there. We know what they're like, and we know what it's going to take to reach them. Then
Mhm.
then we also have to act like a church planter. A church planter does whatever it takes to be involved in their community and to reach their community. And so we have I have some friends that are church planters, and for 10 years, one of them at least over 10, he's been they pack up church every week, take it to a elementary school, set up church on Sunday morning, worship together, shut everything down, and haul it off. But that's not all they do. Since they don't have a church building, they have to be really creative in finding ways to get into the church community.
Mhm.
So you find out what's happening in the community. How can we jump in? One of the church planners, which is in kind of a rough area in Albuquerque, um, partners together with a local school, and I saw that post not too long ago where the school was actually saying thank you, Restoration Church or Restore Church. Well, there's a Restoration Church in Clovis, I think. But
Yeah.
thank you, Restore Church, for partnering together with us. So they do that. They look at the community, and then they jump in to find out whatever they need to do. How can we jump in and minister in the community? So I want us always to be thinking that way, and so that's why in the past we're going to change some stuff probably for student ministry for next year, in when we're doing it. Um, I'll let you know after our midsummer maybe what we're going to be doing, but we have to be able to do that and find the rhythm. And I don't know, you may not remember, you were pretty young when we started this, but we used to, on Wednesday nights, we used to have something from nursery all the way up to adult men and women's Bible studies. Do you remember that?
I
Way
vaguely remember.
way back in the day, we had nursery, preschool, grade school, students, men's ministry or men's Bible study, women's Bible study on Wednesday nights, and the lady that was doing the kids club on Wednesday nights couldn't do it Wednesday nights anymore, because I think we'd do that from 6 to 8 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Which, by the way, is a horrible time for kids, for little
Yeah.
ones. But we did that because that's what Baptist churches have always done, and she couldn't do that then, so she needed to do it right after school. That was actually one of the best things that's happened for our kids club, and
Mm-hmm.
so we kind of accidentally found a rhythm there with that. Um, so that's one of the big reasons that our summer schedule changes in the summer, is because other people's schedules change in the summer. So
Yeah.
men's Bible study is a little bit different. We don't have as many of the men who are tied to the kind of a school schedule going off with kids, although there may be some. And that may change in the future. We may have to reevaluate that. If we have some of our younger guys, our younger families with kids, if the younger guys are in the men's Bible study, and in those couple of months in the summer that they're gone, their schedule changes or taking vacation and stuff. So we'll have to always evaluate that. But for the women's Bible study, especially, a lot of them, that changes for them in the
Mm-hmm.
summertime. We have one family that's gone basically for a month in the summer, because the mom can work remotely and the kids are out of school, and so they
Mm-hmm.
take the time and travel. So that's one reason, is other people's schedules change in the summer, and so we do our summer schedule a little bit differently. But there's another thing, particularly for kids ministry, student ministry, and even for the adult ministry sometime, is it gives us a chance to kind of reset and restart for the fall ministry. And our ministry calendar basically is August through May, is kind of the way we plan. June and July is usually pretty different, but August through May. So I'm going to toss it to you, Hillary. What are some benefits of a reset and restart in ministry?
Well, I think one, give everyone a break, even though it's only like a couple months. I feel like just having the time to kind of like refresh and rethink goes a long way. But also, kind of like you said, like, planning like for the next year. Because I think if you're continually doing something without taking like a short break, it's harder to feel like refreshed or energized. Instead, you're just like, oh yeah, that's like something else that we have to do, or we have to add that to our schedule. As if you take a break, then it's like you get excited. You're like, yeah, like I'm ready for kids club to start again. I'm ready for youth to start again. Like that excitement comes back when you've had like a short break, versus like sometimes your enthusiasm kind of dwindles and you're all like, okay, 2 more weeks, like I can make it 2 more weeks.
And that's kind of what Jim was jokingly kidding about Jesus gets tired. Jesus doesn't, but we do. So
Mhm.
sometimes, and it's the same idea with a lot of things. Um, sometimes we just need to give our workers just a break.
Mhm.
Just kind of rest, refresh, so they can be renewed and ready to go um, for the next year. And I think that's pretty important. And sometimes even a change in what we do is a break. Remember, like what I said, particularly for kids ministry and for student ministry, it's not that nothing happens in
Right.
May and June, even in July. It's not that nothing happens; it's that what we do is different. So
Mhm.
for the volunteers, many of them get a break that they take some time off and then they're ready to go again at the beginning of the ministry year. But it's not that nothing's going on; it's just that things are a little bit differently. And sometimes, even for those of us who are still involved in May and June, um, it's different. So it's when you do something different, it's a little, I don't know, it's a little bit more refreshing. You don't feel like I'm doing. You don't get burned out, I guess is the easy way to say
Yeah.
it. So
And I
so
think
that's one.
also too, like, behind the scenes, like, people need time to, like, get ready for the upcoming year, especially for, like, kids club and youth.
Hmm.
So, I know we mentioned it a couple weeks ago, but that in August, the ladies' Bible study is gonna be we're we're doing, like, a in-person and online Bible
Uh-huh.
study on Tuesday nights. And I think, because we talked about like, oh, we can just do it now. Like, we'll jump into the next, Bible study and it'll work out. But in hindsight, like you need to have time to like plan stuff, like, have time to like troubleshoot. Like if this happens, like I need to have 2 weeks to figure out why, that's not working. And, I think this is our first year doing hi-fi with kids club and youth, and we actually did it over the summer as we had that time to like make sure we had a way to stream it, that we had iPads, that we got everyone involved, that we showed all of our volunteers like this is how you use hi-fi, like. And if we didn't have that time to kind of like step back and to breathe basically to get ready for this upcoming year, I feel like sometimes that makes it worse when you're just jumping into the middle of a year with like a different curriculum, a different, way of doing stuff. And it's nice to have, you know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to kind of like form a different plan and be able to start it without like, tons of problems.
That's exactly right. And for me, that is just as big, if not in some ways a little bit bigger than the other reasons to change. The other reasons
Mhm.
are because other people's schedules change in the summer, so we should adapt, learn what the rhythm of ministry is. But here's a big one. Um, if we don't take a break and take some time to evaluate, revamp, retool, even in some cases like we did with kids and with students with hi-fi. If we
Mhm.
don't take some time to retool, then it's hard. First of all, it's hard to evaluate something in the middle of something. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
I would not want my pilot and co-pilot on a commercial air flight, actually on any flight, to in the middle of the flight while they're doing everything they need to be doing, I don't want them to take time and check out all the equipment. You know
Right.
what I mean? I don't
Mhm.
want them mid-flight to to do an overhaul of the airplane. Um,
Mhm.
the easy way that we usually talk about it is it's hard to change a tire on a moving vehicle,
Yeah.
right? In
Right.
fact, you can't really check a whole lot on a moving vehicle. Now we have older cars, but maybe some of the newer cars you can push a button and the screen pops up with the diagnostics and you can take a peek at that. But you're not going to change your spark plugs. You're not going to change your oil. You can't even put gas. It's not recommended in a moving vehicle. and
Yeah.
so and so it's that kind of idea that when we take a break, when we take a break from things, or uh, yeah, reset and restart is a good way to think of it. When we do that, that it gives us a chance to evaluate, it gives us the chance to revamp or retool.
Mhm.
And so that's crucial in a lot of things. If we don't do that, and we just keep going with everything like normal, then we don't have really a big ability to be able to do that. And
Mhm.
and then if we did, so even if we could evaluate, revamp, retool, and get the ideas, it's hard to do that from one week to the next.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you talked about all the things that we had to do to get ready to do hi-fi. Now, most people, especially if you're not involved in kids or student ministry, you don't understand because you don't have to do it. There's some technology involved in there, and so first of all, we had to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
we
think that switching to hi-fi was probably one of the most challenging things that we've done in the kids ministry and in youth ministry in a while, because it was so different from what we were doing, and it took us 2 months to
Mhm.
make sure that we had it down, we understood, like, we were contacting Lifeway with questions, that we had all of the bumps smoothed, and then it took another month to help, all the volunteers understand, how to use it, like, and even then, once we had those 2 months to kind of prepare, we
Uh-huh.
still had tons of, like, troubleshooting when we started in August.
Yep.
And
And
so I think that that's kind of, like, it's easy to see, um or to think that we're taking just a random break in the middle of, like, for summer, and that we aren't doing anything.
right.
But there's so many different things that are going on, like, behind the scenes, like camps, but also, like, technology wise, because we use the summer to revamp a lot of technology stuff within the church,
Yep.
like,
And
too.
and 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 just logistically, picking up, because Wi-Fi or hi-fi is one of the big things. I know it is one of the biggest changes we made in our kids and students ministry in a while. Um, you can't, with students we could have, because it was mainly me, but
Right.
but we could not have gone from one week to the next.
No.
That is not enough time to prepare the people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um,
Mhm.
like you said, it was hard enough for us to work on it. And we can do that behind the scenes, but for us to
Mhm.
work on it, figure everything out so that we knew, but then we had to train the other people to do it. And
Yeah.
that's hard in the midst of a ministry season.
Mhm.
When you know what I mean? I'm thinking of our kids club volunteers, that they have stuff going on all day long during the week, during the ministry season. Many of them have stuff happening at night. We're still doing the ministry thing for them to be able to put in the additional time and training in the midst of ministry year, and then to make that change from one week to the next, which was pretty significant change, um, gives people a little bit of whiplash. It's like
Right.
it's like if you're driving down the highway at 80 miles an hour and then being able to take all of a sudden a 90-degree turn.
Mhm.
That's a little bit hard. So that's one of the things ministry wise that makes it really beneficial to have a different schedule in the summer. So so for kids club and for students, we stop the weekly thing. There are other things that
Mhm.
are happening during the summer, but then we restart it. So we do a reset in the off season, if you want to call it that, and then we do a reset, or a restart, I'm sorry, at the beginning of the ministry year. Now, here's the big thing about that. Here's why that's important. And you mentioned it earlier, giving the volunteers a little bit of a break, and then being able to jump back into it.
Mhm.
Um, it there's just something exciting about new beginnings. You know what I mean?
Right. And I think that that's why like VBS is so exciting is because it only happens once a year. It's only once a week. And so you're just like, really like pumped. Like the closer it gets, you're so pumped like that you get to teach Bible like stories and you get to like learn about bugs and like how God created everything is because like you have all of this time to get so excited, but then during VBS, you're just like exhausted if you're helping. Like you're just like mentally and physically exhausted. God's using you, like, you're spiritually exhausted. And then you get to the end of the week and you're all like, oh, I just don't think I can ever volunteer again in VBS. And then
Yeah.
you have the whole year to get like super excited, super pumped about it. And I think like if churches didn't utilize kind of like a break or an off season
Uh-huh.
to get help, not only their staff but their volunteers to get excited about the new year. Like
Hmm.
there's so many churches that I've seen stories from, talked with, about like people just get burnt out so fast. And I think
Yeah.
that it's a real thing. There was one church that took their children's ministry took a year off, a
Wow.
whole year, to kind of train their volunteers, get them excited,
Hmm.
figure out where God wants this program to go. And they ended up going back to do the exact same thing they did the year before, but everyone was so excited about it.
Hmm.
And I think if we as a church don't take that time that we've been given to kind of retrain, like get excited, then we get
Yeah.
burnt out fast.
And for me, so I always look forward to the beginning of the ministry year again. It's new beginnings, new start. Come
Hmm.
in. We've had time to revamp some stuff, make some changes, and kids are excited. It's so funny for me. All the kids cannot wait to get out of school for the summer. But
Hmm.
then I talk to so many of them who can't wait to get back. I say in the fall, for us, that's August, but who can't wait to get back to see their friends, and they're not excited about the homework and stuff, but to be able to do that. And so that's one of the huge benefits of changing our summer schedule is for the ministries that take the break. There's this new and fresh, and there's this excitement to jump back into it
Hmm.
whenever picks back up. For example, we're going to make some changes for students, and so we're going to work on that. We'll promote it as well as best we can in the summertime, and it's going to have a whole different feel when they come back. And so I want to be able to generate excitement for that, a whole different feel when they come back in the fall. For the kids, the same way. Just a whole different excitement whenever they come back.
Hmm.
In the fall. The ladies Bible study, adding the online option. I want to build excitement for that to get as many as we can. To be able to jump into that, and really what you have is kind of an opportunity to launch the ministry again,
Hmm.
each whenever you take that little break. So anyhow, we've gone a little bit long this morning, but that's the reason that's what we do. Our summer schedule is different, um, and that's the reason that we do that for those, because people's schedules change. We have to learn the rhythm of ministry in our community, and to be able to go with that. But also it gives us a chance to retool, revamp, and then it gives us a chance to relaunch the ministries with new excitement whenever we pick them back up. So
Hmm.
that's what we do. There are some things that I'd love to do to add in the summer. Here's one, kind of dropping a little bomb here, maybe. Um, I would love, particularly as we get our community groups going,
Hmm.
I would love to have a community group that meets just from May, June, and July. You know what I mean? that
Yeah.
that starts to meet, and it just meets from May, June, and July, and then every year that community group, and it may not be the same people every year, probably wouldn't be, but we have a community group that goes from May, June, and July. I have some ideas about that we'll be working on as we do. Um, but but different from what we would do all the other times.
Hmm.
That's it. Now you are in the know on why we change our summer schedule. Let me pray for you guys, send you out into your week, and Jim and I will jump in on Wednesday with The King is Coming. Jesus probably wasn't the king they wanted, but he was the king they needed, and that's true for us as well. Let me pray. Lord, thank you for your love. Thank you for using us. Thank you for grabbing a hold of us. God, that we get to be a part of your rescue plan for the world. And God, help us to do that well. Help us to be good stewards of everything that you put into our care. And God, I pray that as we do that, that you'd be honored and glorified. And Lord, that you would use us to bring other people into a life-changing relationship with Jesus. Lord, it's in his name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. And let me click some buttons here. Unless you want to, I'll let you click some buttons.
Okay.
We'll see you next time.